Welcome to another episode of AnimeCons TV. My name is Doug Wilder. Unfortunately, most of the anime convention news continues to be rough as more and more conventions are canceling due to the COVID-19 coronavirus. It's kind of a rough time. A lot of us are starting to really see the effect of it. I do have some good news, though. I was able to sit down earlier today with the convention chair for Otakon, as well as the president of Otakorp, which is kind of the overall kind of corporate entity of Otakon, to talk about their decision and their need to cancel the event this year. Unfortunately, we had a lot of fun. It was really neat to hear another perspective on it, especially as kind of every convention's reasons for changing it, for canceling conventions seems to be a little bit different. Sometimes it's safety, sometimes it's government mandate, and things like that. So give a listen, and I'll be back after the interview. All right, here we are, guys. We are here with Nick and Andrew from Otakon, who are going to talk a little bit about the news for Otakon that seems to be hitting every convention these days. So first, I'll let you guys, if you don't mind, could you just introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about what you do on staff, and maybe a little bit of your history as staffers?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. So my name's Nick Avgerinos. I'm the president of Otakorp this year. Let's see, I've been on staff probably since around 2013, I think. I kind of started in our Gophers volunteer department and then, raised up the ranks, so to speak. I think voluntold is the word we throw around a lot. So it's like, oh, here, you do this thing. I've been doing president, and then Andy gets to be fun dad.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Andy. So I'm Andy Zerrlaut. I am the current convention chairman for Otakon 2020. I've been with Otakon. I've been staffing Otakon since late 2004. I actually came on in between conventions. I was the webmaster for a number of years, year round, and at Con I worked mostly in the programming department or programming division. So I spent a couple of years in the Ota Cafe, and then I moved on to the panels department, and then I ran the panels department for a few years, and then was the director of programming for a few years, and then the convention chairman starting in 2018. I've been with Otakon quite a while. And as Nick points out, I'm not sure how the joke about Fun Dad came about last year at the convention, because I walked into a room and somebody thought that I was the president. And I was like, no, I'm Fun Dad, because, the president deals with the corporate side and I deal with the convention side. So the president is all the legal and, corporate stuff. And I'm the one that actually gets to throw the party. So that's where the Fun Dad joke came from. And ever since then, it's been like, no, I'm Fun Dad. And Nick actually even got me a pair of socks that says, "Here comes Fun Dad."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so moving on. In Otakon's statement about having to cancel the convention this year, it was stated that the reason was due to the Walter
Washington Convention Center.
Yes.
Yep.
The Washington Convention Center, which describes both the name and the location. I love it.
We call it the WeWack in-house.
Yes, we do.
The WeWack. But that space is actually being temporarily converted into a field hospital, and that even if it was emptied out in time for Otakon this year, the cleanup process would take a lot longer. How much notice were you guys given about that transition? Were you given an estimate on how long it would take to transition back for the convention center?
Yeah. Do you want to take that? Or
I can take that. Okay. We found out about it, I'm going to say about 2 weeks ago on a Friday. And so we immediately sent an email to the convention center. And I think that the timing of it was that they probably found out about it around the same time. To their credit, when I asked them for more information, they offered to set up a call with us. We had a call with them the following, I think it was Tuesday. And it was at that point, we already knew that the timing of the field hospital was going to be sort of tenuous for our event because the field hospital wasn't meant to be completed until May the 30th. So, we already were having questions about, well, how do we, field hospital issues aside, how do we hold a convention if the way that Maryland, DC, and Virginia, as they start to move towards their recovery phase from this thing, everyone's talking about it being a 6 or 8 week, phase if everything goes well. And at the end of that, we would be able to have large convention or large groups, but with social distancing in place. So we already had that question going, and we wanted to meet with them about that. But then on the call, they basically led with the fact that we did not know, which was that it would take 30 days when the care facility, the alternate care facility, as they call it, is done being used. They require 30 days for it to be mitigated and everything for everything to be cleaned. So even if they don't use it, and I believe that they were supposed to at least have it reserved until the beginning of July. So even if they never put a patient in the place, they still would have to close it down at the beginning of July and then spend 30 days cleaning it, which overlaps our weekend. So it was essentially, the facility was just not available to us.
Yeah. But really, for the last 2 months or so, we've been in regular contact with Destination DC, with the convention center, and they've been providing us with regular updates. So we've tried our best on our website to keep people updated throughout the process. Anytime we got an update from any of the hotels or anything, we would post to there. So if you kind of looked on our website, we had kind of like a history of all the announcements and whatnot. But yeah, like Andy said, that last one on Friday was kind of the okay, well, this is this is the thing that we were hoping wasn't going to happen, because we've seen so many other convention centers. I think even the Baltimore Convention Center, they announced several weeks ago they were going to be used as a hospital as well. So we were hoping it wouldn't affect us, but it has.
Yeah, a lot of being a convention planner is just sometimes having to tell the attendees or just the general public, once we have more information, you'll have more information, and having to ask people to just wait it out is sometimes hard to do, because you want to be able to tell them definitely too. And as we've seen, this situation keeps evolving and keeps changing, and it's still difficult to predict.
Yeah, and I mean, so one of the hardest parts for us too was kind of the main question everybody's asking is about our refund policies, and if even if the convention isn't canceled, if people didn't feel comfortable attending, and that's something that we certainly wanted to make sure was being taken care of. But I guess because of the way this is, the not fun dad side has to deal with the way our corporate bylaws and all work. All of a sudden, our bylaws have had requirements in there that for us to hold meetings to vote on things like changing our refund policy, we needed a quorum of 15 people physically in a room, and all of a sudden you couldn't do that anymore.
Wow, I never even thought of that.
So we kind of had to jump through a bunch of hoops, and we really started 2 months ago the process, because it takes that long for us to change our corporate bylaws, all the notice requirements and everything. So we really, we knew back then that we wanted to be able to be prepared for whatever happened. So we really had to start months ago. But unfortunately, we couldn't really, I couldn't announce that we were changing the refund policy for sure until the members had fully voted on it.
Mm-hmm. So for many fans, Otakon is one of the last conventions with a focus on Asian culture and kind of the spring-summer convention season. Do you guys feel your announcement was late compared to similar events, or early due to when Otakon is usually held?
I know I was refreshing the AnimeCons page every day that had the list of like where I'm like, okay, well, you know, there it looks like most of April is done, but May people haven't announced. So I think we were kind of right in line with where things were at. I mean, we were still 100 days out, which so many things change day by day, really, even hour by hour. Because I know Andy and I, so many text messages
Yeah.
in the last month back
Yeah.
and forth. And it's like, oh, did you see this? Like every hour things were changing.
Yep.
So it was really hard to, it's hard for people, from our member side, our attendees side, to plan for how, if they're going to attend, and it's hard for us to, really know. It's like, can we hold an event? And we're watching. I think that's the one thing. After the announcement has happened, I have stopped reloading the COVID pages every day,
Yeah.
or several times a day. It's like, okay, I can stop doing that now, because we at least now know for certain, and certainty,
Yeah.
is a big thing.
Yeah, as Nick pointed out, it's, there's been so much discussion since February, when all of the news really started to break, and everything started to get serious. You know, the internal discussion that we kept having was, um, at what point is it appropriate or not appropriate to continue? So with regard to our announcement, I think that really, it's terrible that this had to happen. We're extremely disappointed about it. And I know that all of our members are as well. But it really did happen in the best way that it could, because, as we sort of, keep going towards the convention, our one of our guiding stars is, at what point, do we, if we have to cancel, can we do so that people have enough notice to change their plans, to get refunds on their flights and or their hotel rooms or whatever, to sort of, be able to reshuffle their lives for that weekend, not at the last minute, not have to incur penalties. And luckily slash unluckily, because the hospitality industry right now is in such disarray because of all of this, that's not really affecting our members, so, I don't think that any of them will have a problem getting their getting their money back or anything like that.
Okay. Do you guys have any plans, though, for having some sort of substitution, either having virtual events online, promoting artists or vendors that usually exhibit at the convention, or maybe working with any industry partners to coordinate some announcements?
Yeah, we're looking at everything right now. We're as you know, we're all volunteers. We're fan run, so really, everything at Otakon, even in a normal year, everything at Otakon is there because somebody on our staff is passionate about bringing that to life. So we've got a lot of staff who've been very interested for several years now, and kind of growing an online presence and doing things there. So we have people looking and seeing, is that something we can realistically do? And we really want to help all the, the artists and the dealers who are, they haven't had they might go all year without a con, this year for the first time ever. And, they're really hurting, and we want to show them all the support we can get as well.
Then I guess next, you guys have kind of hinted a little bit about this, but how has the community's reaction been to the news? Like, what message or advice would you want to give to the members, the general attendees of Otakon, as well as maybe other convention planners?
It's been fantastic. It really has. We announced on Monday. We were dreading the announcement on Monday because, as Nick pointed out earlier, we've been talking so much and trading so many text messages and just essentially watching all the dominoes fall for all these other conventions. And, at one point we really were hoping that we would be, sort of the con at the end of the rainbow. That if all this was gone by summer, then people would have something to come and do. But and so when the announcement went out on Monday, I had Twitter up on one pane, and Instagram in another, and Facebook in another, and I was just constantly hitting refresh, and 99.9% of the comments were, "Hey, we totally understand. It was the right thing to do. We'll see you next year." And that's fantastic, because our members are awesome, and I think that everybody knows, that it would have been a really tough thing, even if we were able to hold the convention. People had to make that choice about whether or not they want to come to a big city and into a facility like that. So yeah, the response has been fantastic, and the message that I would give to our members is, we'll see you in 2021, if not sooner. And
Yeah, I mean, really, that's kind of, we're in a fortunate position because we got to kind of watch a lot of the other conventions that were scheduled earlier than us have to go through it. So we kind of like, see how their online presence handle it and kind of be prepared for, different, eventualities, and learn from, mistakes that we saw. It makes me really feel for all the other events that had to go through it, with the earlier date. We were so fortunate financial wise because we're just at that time 3 months out where a lot of the big bills start getting paid to have the event. And a lot of those other conventions I know would have been in that situation. I'm thankful, at least from that part, timing wise. Everything has fallen in line, so we're comfortable with that 2021 will happen, and we'll be back in the convention center, Experience, Destination DC. They're all they're all they want to make sure that we come back strong as well.
You guys both alluded to this a little bit, that planning a convention is a lot of work, especially when things are kind of going crazy and you're refreshing tabs and
trying to work from home while there's a pandemic going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also on staff on Anime Boston, and I've had days in the past where I'm getting a phone call while I'm also getting a text and trying to respond to an email at the same time. But now that kind of the decision has been made for you, and things like that, a lot of con organizers say they rarely have time for anime, but both with social distancing and not having to worry about planning a convention for this year, have you guys had a chance to maybe watch some more anime or read some more manga? And if so, what are you guys going through?
Well, I guess I hope to get to that because now that the announcement has gone out that maybe I'm a huge Digimon fan, so I did find time to at least watch the first 3 episodes of the new series, which I'm so of two minds about. But us also is affected as well because now they're on hiatus or whatever, while the pandemic affects the whole world and that industry as well. So there's a lot of shows that are kind of on break for a time, which is frustrating.
And that's where I think I have an advantage because I'm old school. I'm a giant robot guy, so I can always go back to my standards. I can always go back to Macross or Gundam, and oddly enough, and I can't really explain why this is. Actually, I can. I've seen all the Gundam. Let's put it that way.
All the
Gundam. Talking to the right audience here.
Right. So, actually, I will say I have seen all the Gundam except for Gundam 00 because I just can't get into it. Mm-hmm. And when I tried to get into it, it was it immediately reminded me well, this is basically Gundam Wing for a new generation, And so oddly enough, I started rewatching Gundam Wing, and I can't explain why, because it's not that great. It
holds up pretty well, I think.
Well, what's funny is it makes me nostalgic for like when Gundam, because when Gundam first came, I guess, really, in the United States anyway, if you weren't in I'm old enough to remember, the old VHS tape crowd, okay, because I'm pushing 50, so that's me. So when Toonami was a thing back in the early aughts, and Gundam Wing came on, I was like, holy crap, is this a Gundam show in the United States? I'm totally going to watch this. And it was meh, it was okay back then. And now as I watch it again, I'm just like, I basically chose to watch that so that I could maybe then sit through Gundam 00, understanding that it's a remake of Gundam Wing. And then at the same time, I'm like, God, Hero's a dick. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that on a podcast, but
it's
seriously,
fine.
it's like Hero's impotent rage. He spends the first half of I'm about 23 episodes in, and he's still in that "I'm going to kill you" to everybody he meets phase, and it's like, dude, you haven't killed anybody yet. You keep threatening to kill everyone, but you haven't killed a single person. It's just, and I forgot how many episodes there were. So I looked and I'm like, holy crap, there's like 49 episodes. I'm not sure if I can make it all the way through, but I'm going to try.
It's funny you mention Gundam Wing, actually. Just kind of geek out to you guys in a positive way for a little bit. This would have been my 20th year going to Otakon. And my very first Otakon badge. The only year I went for one day, but I got a Gundam Wing badge because that was one of the years when you could still.
Oh, I have that badge.
I have that badge too.
So my 2001.
2001, is it?
I think it
2001.
was.
Yep.
Yeah, was it?
There was a couple, but that was the first one that I had, and that's one of my favorite con badges. I still hold on to them, but that's one that it's like this was my first con. This was my first Otakon, and now just to again echo a little bit of the support of everyone. Like, well, my 20th year will just be 2021 instead of 2020. So.
And that's something I see online. So many people are like, I collect all the badges every year, and I've been going. I have them all, and I don't want a gap in them. So I know that's something that we're talking about and seeing if there's something we can do for the members who. So we are. I guess we didn't really talk about it, but as far as like the refund, logistics are working. So anybody who did get registered for this year will automatically transition you for next year if you don't ask for a refund. And then I think we will look and see if we can kind of reopen registration as well, so people could lock in at this year's rate if they know they're going to make it next year. Because we're still working through all the budget and everything, and we always work so hard every year to keep our rates low or as low as possible, because we really pour everything back into the convention. And I guess from our side it's always entertaining because for the last 4 or 5 years we haven't raised rates really.
No, we haven't.
But every year you get people in line saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're raising your rates." So our announcements have to include, we haven't changed them. And that's a really, our budgets are so tight where we try really hard not to do that because, but we still want to make sure that we're bringing, we think we're bringing tremendous value with our membership for, a full weekend of things. But I think we do want to try and get that before we, get all the final numbers and see, going into 2021, we're going to try the same thing like we do every year and see if we can hold rates. But that's for the next board to work through.
Right.
Because I'm termed out. This is my last year president.
Oh, so you guys have actually term limits?
For some of our positions, yeah. Andy is our third year as con chair.
Well, would be. I guess this would be, but this is my last year as con chair as well. So next year, I'm handing the reins off to somebody else.
Yeah, and then our president, we changed things a while ago, so president can have a 2-year term now. So I'm on the second of that, but yeah, I think that's another kind of difference of Otakon from other some other events, is that we intentionally have things structured with term limits and stuff, so we always get like fresh people, hopefully, who are able to kind of join in and cycle through, so we hopefully aren't getting stale. Always bring new ideas to the table.
Okay. Well, I just want to say once again, thank you guys for taking the time to talk to us on the AnimeCons TV podcast. Do you guys have any final thoughts you want to share before we sign off?
Yeah, who wants to go first?
You can go.
Yeah, I mean, really.
We'll see how redundant we are. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think we both really hope everybody's just staying safe out there. I tend to be the optimist, and I'm like, okay, we'll get through this, and we'll be back in 2021, and stronger than ever. But reality is that things will likely change as far as hand sanitizers everywhere and how we do distancing and whatnot. We'll have to wait and see how that is. But I try and keep an optimistic attitude. I'm hoping everybody stays safe, and we get through this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody's stay safe, take care of yourselves, take care of your families. And I want to, I do want to give a huge thank you to Events DC, Destination DC, Experience, Hargrove, DSL, the Collins Agency, Mike Leah from Umbrella Technical, all of the people that all of our major vendors that we deal with, that have gone on this journey with us because they had no choice, just like we did. But everyone's done a really great job, and everyone's been, like I said, the whole industry is in turmoil right now. So I really hope that things turn around so that those people can get back to work, because as Nick pointed out, we're volunteers, so we all have jobs, and hopefully, that will come around, so that we don't see the entire convention industry, fall apart.
Well, once again, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, it's hard sometimes when you look at just how things are going in the world. You think like anime convention is such a non-important thing when people are dying in the world. Not to turn it dark but it means so much to so many people. Otakon for us it's a family reunion every year, and it's something that I've been going to since 1997 as a fan before I started staffing, and this is going to be my first year not going along with so many other people.
Yep.
And it's people spend so much time pouring into the panels that they're going to present, the cosplay, just there's so much energy and focus on our event, and it means so much to us that everybody does it. And we wanted so much to be that outlet for people this year, and it really is heartbreaking that we're not. But the community is strong. The community will come back, and we're looking forward to it.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys once again. We'll see you hopefully in 2021.
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely.
Okay, guys, that's the interview. I want to say thank you again to Andy and Nick for making the time to talk with me. Great guys. It's nice to talk to some fellow Gundam fans and everything like that. I think the spirit of, hey, we can't do 2020, but we'll see you guys in 2021 is the right spirit. Just a reminder that be supportive to the conventions and everybody listen to it. Keep an eye out for news. We're hoping that more cons are going to find ways to do virtual events and things like that. Take care of yourselves and each other. And if you have any comments, questions, or anything, don't forget to either comment on our YouTube channel right here. You can always send us an email at podcast@animecons.tv. And you can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Tumblr, on Instagram. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Let us know how you're doing with basically the year without an anime convention it's starting to become. And keep us posted. We want to hear from you guys. We really want to know how fellow convention fans are doing with this right now. Stay safe, stay strong. Doug Wilder, and we'll see you guys again soon.